Here is my 2-cent take on the assassination of CEO Brian Thompson of United. Um, First of all, I just am amazed at the reaction of the pundits, what we call, in fact, the establishment, which is, expressing horror at the fact that many expressions were the opposite of horror as to what happened. Um, it's very interesting. I just take one example. Please, Senator, I'm not just picking on you, but you're a good example. Senator Amy Klobuchar, because Brian Thompson was one of her constituents. And she expressed horror that people would show so little sympathy for Mr. Thompson. However, during your tenure in the Senate, how much sympathy have you shown for the day-to-day assassination of people under the rubric of profit of United? And they're also, among them are your constituents, Senator, and I don't hear the same reaction. Not only do I not hear the same reaction, but the fact that you are someone who has opposed Medicare for all. And at the same time, you have received money from these insurance companies. So I think your tears may be genuine to you. I think they're kind of crocodile. I can't help it. I have sympathy. I have much more sympathy with the bitter reaction of people to United than I do for the fact that one of its CEOs, one of the greediest human beings in the world, give gold out of people's deaths because they refuse coverage. No, I'm sorry. I don't think that, and the thing is, oh yes, of course, he's a father. He has a wife and 2 children. Well, there were plenty of fathers and mothers who have wives or husbands and 2 children who did not get the care they need. Where's the sympathy for them? So I have to say, I do support morally the outpouring of anger. Do not show pity to those who take no pity on others. The real solution is we need a national health service, as not only most Western countries have, but many non-Western countries have it. Because the object of private insurance is first to profit and secondarily to take care of their subscribers' needs. And I think that the human body and medicine is just one area that ought to be pushed away from profit and into some sort of universal situation where everybody, rich, poor, middle, whatever race, religion, creed, nationality, or geographic region, is guaranteed minimal treatment and more if necessary. So I think it's sad that Americans, and evidently here Americans on the right as much as those on the left, are voicing perfectly understandable righteous anger. But at the same time, you cannot expect to have a national health service or trash what these trashy insurance companies are doing if you continue to vote for the Ronald Reagans and the Donald Trumps of the world. There's a distinct contradiction here. Where I differ from a lot of people is I have my suspicions that, despite what some polls say, that many Americans are not ready for a national health service. The whole ethos of our country is, no big government. Never mind the fact that it's the corporations who are trashing you. No, I think that there have been indications that what Americans want is not so much a national health service as more public options. I just think that it would be a lot simpler to have, as so many countries do, a single payer system. And yes, because we're not living in a socialist paradise, there will be people who can buy additional private insurance. but that private insurance should be scuttled down to a very, very low level. So there are two things involved. There's the immediate emotional reaction, and then there's the political consequence. And I have to say, I fully support the negativity, but that's only the first step. And the question is whether Americans make a link between their justifiable immediate anger and the long-term necessity for a national health service. And by the way, the United States, in terms of lifespan and healthy lifespan, isn't near the top in the world. So it is American elitism to say, well, we have the best medical care in the world. That's probably true for the happy few, but not for the vast majority of people. As one Canadian woman wrote in, she said, the US has the best medical care in the world for a very small minority, and Canada has good medical care for everybody. And that's what we need to work on. So I can only say, I think this is a little cruel on my part, but I can't help it. That is, Mrs. Thompson, you are a widow, you have 2 children, but you did live high on the hog while people were dying at your expense. Well, not you literally, but your husband. And so it's very, very hard for me to feel a great deal of sympathy for you. My sympathy goes out to the people whose lives have been mangled or destroyed by the actions of the company of which your husband was CEO. We need a national health service.